also Parashat Haremot, and also Parashat Kedoshim. And there is a halatza, a drasha that they said Haremot Kedoshim Emor, which means usually after a person passes away, then people are saying, oh, how great he was, and how tzaddik he was, and how unbelievable person he was. Yeah, and unfortunately, we only remember his greatness after his passing. Acharemot kedoshim emor. Unfortunately, and the whole job is to realize the good and to say the good beforehand. But I wanna touch a very important idea that appears in Parashat Kedoshim, Acharemot. The Torah says like this: "Ushmartem et chukotai ve'et mishpatai asher ya'aseh otam ha'adam v'chai b'hem." A person should keep the mitzvot, the chukim, everything, v'chai b'hem, and he will live with them. Now the question is, I'm not sure if when a person keeps Torah and mitzvot, he always have a long life. We have seen people that they kept Torah and mitzvot, and they have a short life. Even great tzaddikim, right? Like the Arizal, right? Like there were many tzaddikim that they passed away in a very young age, right? So why the Torah says "Ushmartem et chukotai, etc. v'chai b'hem," and he will live with them? So one simple explanation is that Chaim, real life, it's Olam Haba, not Olam Hazeh. That's one explanation. But the Hafetz Chaim brings down something beautiful. He says, you see, there are people that they live in this world, but they have a blemish in their body. Right? If the blemish that they have in the body, it's in a certain organ that is not so important, so yes, it's uncomfortable, but they can live with it. For example, lo alenu, a person that has a blemish in his ear. One ear he has a blemish, bar minan. Can he live with that or not? Yeah. Bothers? Yeah, until he gets used to it and halas. A person has a blemish in one of his fingers. Bothers, but he can live with it. There are certain organs that if a person bar minan has a blemish, he cannot live with it. Blemish that can cause him bar minan to be absolutely in the bed, cannot move. If Chaz v'Shalom he has a blemish in his how do you call that, the spine, he cannot move. If he has a problem there, he can be in the bed the whole entire day. And there is a type of blemish that a person not only cannot move, cannot function, he cannot live. If a person bar minan has a blemish in his brain, in his heart, yeah, so Chaz v'Shalom, that's it. Says the Hafetz Chaim, we know that how many mitzvot do we have in the Torah? 613 mitzvot. This 613 mitzvot, yes, this 613 mitzvot. Why 611? 2 is what? 2 is Anochi Hashem Elokecha, and Lo Yeh Lecha Elohim Acherim. Okay, anyway, so 613 mitzvot that we have, the Torah says that are keneged ramach ivarim v'shasag gidim, which means the mitzvot aseh are 248, right? Keneged ramach ivarim, like the 248 organs that a person has, and the mitzvot not aseh are 365. Keneged the shasag gidim, the 365 gidim are veins, we can say, sinus, thank you. Okay? So, Says the Hafetz Chaim, and he brings that in the name of the Zohar Kadosh. He says when a person keeps Torah and mitzvot over here, he actually, every mitzvah that he keeps and any avirah that he protects himself not to do, he's building up his own physical body up in Shamayim. The same way that there is a physical body over here, there is a exact body like yours up in Shamayim. You look the same. According to the actions that we do over here, we give life to those organs up in Shamayim. Therefore, he says, when a person fulfills Torah mitzvot properly, he will get after 120 to Olam HaEmet, and it will be complete. But then he says, if Chas v'Shalom a person doesn't care, and for example, doesn't care about one mitzvah. Let's say he doesn't care about what he sees. His eyes goes ala kef kefak. Then what happened? After 120, his eyes in Shamayim are completely with a blemish. He cannot see. And then what happened? Says the Chafetz Chaim in the name of the Zohar Kadosh, then the embarrassment that a person feels in Shamayim when everybody will see that this man is blind, and blind, it's not a blemish that he was born like that, but it's actually because that he was mafkir his actions. The embarrassment will be the worst punishment that that person can suffer. That's one mitzvah. Same thing with each one of our organs. Every time that we do a mitzvah, you're reviving one of your organs in Shamayim. And then he says, the same way that there are organs that are less critical than others, there are certain mitzvot that are less critical than others, and mitzvot that are more critical. And we have mitzvot that includes all of the mitzvot altogether. For example, we have Shabbat, Taharat HaMishpacha, right? Those are mitzvot that are critical. That if there is a blemish bar minan, it's like a big blemish that a person cannot function. When a person understands that, says the Hafetz Chaim, he understands that since anyways we are temporarily over here, and eventually at the age of 120, inshallah, to all of us, but we will say goodbye. We have to know how to build our insurance life up in Shamayim. That's the pasuk. Ushmartem et chukotai v'et mishpatai. Keep my chukot and my mitzvot. Why? Asher yaseh otam ha'adam. Whatever you will do here, v'chai b'hem, and you will live with them. After 120, every organ will have a life. Out of what? Out of our own mitzvot. I just want to go with one short idea that obviously is connected to this. The Pelei Yoetz brings down. He says, the Yetzer Hara not only fight against us constantly, but he fights with plans. He has plans how to fight against us. And you can feel that the Yetzer Hara is coming from the right and he's attacking you, and then you don't let him and you fight, and then suddenly appears from the left side. And then suddenly appears from the back. I'll give an example. And with this example, I'll give you a ma'aseh that happened many, many years ago. There was a Hasidic Yehudi back in the days in Europe, and this Yehudi went to see his Rabbi, the Admor, the Rabbi that he looked up to him. He went to get a beracha, but this time, not only to get a beracha, but also to tell him about a very critical need that he's having. What happened? His daughter, Baruch Hashem, is engaged. She needs to get married, and the man has absolutely no money to cover the expenses of the wedding. I'm going to tell you the story short. The guy goes to the Rebbe. The Rebbe tells him, Baruch Hashem, I got a donation with me. I'll give you a nice amount of money. And he gives him an envelope with a large amount of money. The Hasid was so grateful and happy. He goes back home. Now the road was not half an hour straight. No, he needed to spend the night in a different city in the meantime, in the small town, and then he will move on. He gets to the small town. There were Jews as well. As soon as he gets there, he sees a lot of people around a certain person in the middle of the street. And everybody's screaming, bring water, bring something, Hatzalah. What happened? He sees there is a lady fainted, and they're trying to wake her up. She wakes up, and they tell her, don't worry, everything is going to be fine. And she faints again. What happened? What happened was that the lady her husband was not feeling well, and he asked her from her, take this money and go to the marketplace and buy some merchandise. She lost the money. This Yehudi, Tzaddik, the Hasid, here is about the amount of money that she lost. And he says, that's the amount of money that I have. 10,000 ruble. He says, no problem. He goes and he says, don't worry. I think I found the money. Immediately, the lady revives. Really? The guy says, yes, but you have to give me simanim. Simanim are signs. Tell me how many bills of 100, how many bills of 50 you had. She tells him everything. And the guy said, I think I have it. Let me go and check. In the meantime, he goes to the change. He takes the money. He tells him, please change it for X amount of 100, X amount of 50, X amount of 20. Beauty. The guy goes back and he says, yes, that's your money. And just before he gives her the envelope with the money, he says to her, hold on. We're a lot of people. Hold on. I'm giving you the money, but I'm taking 15%. 50%. So, excuse me? What do you mean? It's my money. You found it. But what do you mean 50%? Says, hello, I found it for you. Right? You want the money, 15%. 15. What can I tell you? A balagan started to happen. People got involved. Are you religious? Look at you, yeshiva, Torah. That's how people of Torah act. Balagan, screaming back and forth. Until they say, you know what? Let's go to the rabbi of the city. Whatever the rabbi will say, that's what we do. They went to the rabbi of the city. The rabbi heard both sides, and he says, Ma pitom, halakha, whenever you found a lost item, you cannot keep to yourself a certain percentage. You got to give the whole thing. Give the whole thing right away. And the guy with the fallen head, face, he goes and he gives the money, and he goes back to his city. The rabbi of that city asked him, who are you? Who is your Rabbi? He told him. 2 weeks later, the Jew gets a letter from his Rabbi, telling him, I'm asking from you to come right away to see me. He goes. And the Rabbi tells him, listen, the rabbi of that city called me up. He was in touch with me. He told me the whole story. I know that you gave all the money that I gave you. You gave it to her. But why you made such a balagan of the 10%? What was the point? And the Yehudi said, no, doesn't matter, Rabbi. No, I want to know why, and I'm forcing you to tell me why. And the guy said, listen, Rabbi, when I saw that situation, I really wanted to help. And then the Yetzer Hara came over to me, hugging me and telling me, what a tzaddik. What a Yerei Shamayim. Tell me somebody else that you know in your city that will do such an action. Habibi, you're close to Moshe Rabbeinu. The Jew said, I started to feel how the Yetzer Hara, when I'm fulfilling a mitzvah, comes to attack me. So halas, I gotta do something. I say to myself, you're gonna get all the Hazak Baruch from the people, everybody's gonna thank you. I say to myself, to my Yetzer Hara, I'm not gonna let you be honored. I will do everything to get bizyonot, to get embarrassment, and not to lose my mitzvah. My dear friends, the Yetzer Hara attacks us with all type of ways. Even when you don't do an Avera, but you're actually doing a mitzvah, he's going to try to attack you. And guess what? If he wins, we'll lose the mitzvah. If you decide not to let go and you try to push, but Olam is going to help you out, and then the end of the pasuk is going to be fulfilled by you. V'chai bahem. You will live throughout the fulfillment of Torah and mitzvot. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. רבי חנניה בן שמעון רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל לפיכך דבר להם תורה ומשל אדוני חפץ למען צדקו